All right, we've got a huge win. A federal court blocks the 100-day migration deportation moratorium. All his Biden supporters are starting to turn on him. In this video, we're going to take a look at the first, what promises to be many of Sleepy Joe's defeats at the courts, how sanctuary states are successfully building administrative and legal walls to keep their citizens safe from Biden's incompetence, and how more and more of Sleepy Joe's supporters are suffering from buyer's remorse and starting to turn on him big time. You are not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Wonderful to be with you as always. We're here to give you always conservative hope in the midst of these turbulent times by helping you think better so you can feel better. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button, and make sure also to check us out on our brand new Rumble channel by clicking on the link below. And for you podcast fans out there, we are now one of the top 20 podcasts in the nation for political commentary, and with your support, we are fast making our way to number one. So make sure to click on that link below and sign up for our various podcast platforms. And before we begin, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that's the makers of the amazing Clean Air device. Did you know, I didn't know this, but did you know that studies show that air quality inside our homes is actually less safe than outdoors? Air pollution could actually be 2 to 5 times higher indoors than outdoors. And that's why I've got the amazing Clean Air device in my home. This device is an air purifier and air ionizer that eliminates up to 99.7% of indoor air pollutants. Now, I partnered with the creators behind Amazing Clean Air to give my audience 50% off your own purifier if you click on the link down below today. That's right, 50% off, but this is a limited time offer. Click on that link below or go to amazingcleanair.com. That's amazingcleanair.com and purify the air quality in your home today. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. The lesson that Biden is learning today is do not mess with Texas. A Trump-appointed federal judge has blocked Biden's 100-day deportation moratorium that he signed via an EO, an executive order, last week. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton wasted no time in filing a temporary restraining order against the Department of Homeland Security against the executive order. And a federal judge has granted that request, effectively suspending Sleepy Joe's ban on the deportation of illegal migrants. Texas Attorney General Paxton originally demanded that the acting Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security immediately rescind what he called its, quote, illegal, unconscionable deportation freeze, stating that border states like Texas pay a particularly high price when the federal government fails to faithfully execute our country's immigration laws. And of course, after being ignored by the Biden administration, Paxton took him to court, and a federal judge agreed that the 100-day moratorium was indeed blatantly illegal and abdicated the federal government's role in enforcing its own immigration laws. Let Joe Biden, in between his naps, his several naps during the day, let Sleepy Joe change the law. Let the whole nation see that he's all for open borders and stealing good-paying jobs, entry-level positions away from American citizens. If he does that, then he can do whatever he wants at the border. But until then, the federal government simply cannot abdicate their law enforcement responsibilities. I mean, it's not like they're big city mayors or leftist city councils that can do that, abdicate their law enforcement responsibilities when people start burning down their cities. No, federal government is still accountable here. So this is fantastic. Texas was the first state to sue the Biden administration, and the administration is not even a week old, and they have already lost one of their major globalist goals, which is to reopen the borders. Globalism hates borders by definition. I mean, globalism transcends any nationally defined frontiers, and globalism loves cheap labor. And so economic nationalist protectionism and strict border enforcement, they are absolutely anathema to neoliberal globalists like Sleepy Joe. And Texas rose to the occasion, said no way. In fact, the Texas Attorney General Paxton said it well. Quote, "This was a seditious left-wing insurrection, and my team and I stopped it." And they certainly did. Now, what's going on in Texas, I think, is best understood in terms of the emergence of something we predicted would happen as a result of a Sleepy Joe regime, and that's something called the rise of sanctuary states. Deep red states announcing that they're not going to be a part of any Democrat programs or persecutions coming down the pike. Glenn Beck has been talking a lot about this of late. And I think we're going to see more and more red states join together and, in effect, form an administrative wall against the blundering Biden administration. There are 30 red states right now as we speak, and increasingly, we're going to see these states offering legal and administrative protection for citizens who want nothing to do with the grand reset of Obama-era conditions. We saw glimpses of the emergence of sanctuary states even under President Trump. About a year ago, you may remember we did a video on this. Texas Governor Greg Abbott announced that the state would no longer allow refugees to resettle in Texas. Now, this announcement stemmed from President Trump's executive order that he signed. It was back in September of 2019, and it required that cities and states had to provide their written consent to allow refugees to resettle within their areas. Now, Governor Abbott did stress the fact that up until that point, Texas has accepted more refugees than any other state. Over the past decade, roughly 10% of all refugees resettling in the United States resettled in Texas. But Abbott made it clear that because of a broken federal immigration system and the total irresponsibility of our federal government, not President Trump, but the decades prior to Trump, because of the total abdication of the federal government to enforce their own federal immigration laws, particularly under Bush and Obama, Texas would no longer be participating in refugee relocation. So this was a clear example, at that time perfectly in line, by the way, the White House policy, but nevertheless, this was a clear example of a red state asserting the jurisdictional authority granted to it in our federalist structure. And by the way, a federalist structure that the Roberts Court, with all of its flaws, has consistently upheld. This is one of the reasons why John Roberts wants nothing to do with the impeachment circus in the Senate. He's constitutionally required to preside over an impeachment trial in the Senate, and his refusal to participate is a clear sign that he sees this whole impeachment circus as a gross violation of the constitutional authority of Congress. So that's why I argued last night in our live stream that this impeachment is just dead in the water. It is not going anywhere because of what Roberts is signaling, as well as, of course, the fact that 45 Republican senators voted to throw the impeachment out because they believe it was totally unconstitutional, which it is. So that's one example of sanctuary states in action. Another example is what we reported on a couple of weeks back, where a number of red states are rising up and fighting back against big tech censorship. So, for example, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, he's publicly committed himself to bringing to an end once and for all a conservative censorship in social media. According to One America News, DeSantis recently announced that pushing back against big tech censorship is on the top of the list of his legislative issues that he'll be working on. DeSantis is promising that Florida will indeed be taking action on the issue as they work to provide protection from online censorship. We noted, too, he's being joined by Florida State Representative Randy Fine, who is demanding the state audit its investments with major tech companies and divest from those that have targeted President Trump and censored conservatives. Texas, of course, they are also stepping into the ring here. The Attorney General Paxton, he's promising to fight back against big tech censorship with everything he's got. In North Dakota, the state legislature is considering a bill that would prohibit social media companies from censoring messages and posts. And in addition, the legislation would allow citizens to sue Facebook and Twitter for censoring their free speech. And here's one, again, this is my favorite. This one really will impress you. An internet provider in northern Idaho announced they are going to block Facebook and Twitter from their Wi-Fi services for some customers due to claims of censorship. And this is just this is a week or so into Biden's blundering presidency. So I think we're clearly seeing here the rise of sanctuary states, where red states are rising up and creating what's in fact an administrative and legal wall of protection against Sleepy Joe's incompetence and leftist absurdity. Now, if that's not good enough, we're now seeing more and more Sleepy Joe supporters abandoning him. But first, I am so excited to announce that we have a brand new alt-tech directory guide called the New Conservative Survival Guide to Big Tech Censorship, which you can get absolutely free by clicking on the link below as an ebook download. This is a guide that's going to give you all of the alternative social media sites that you can go to that have all your favorite independent content creators, but without any of the censorship that we've been exposed to by big tech. It's also going to give you insights into what scholars are calling an emerging post-Google age. I think you'll find that fascinating. It's absolutely free as an ebook download, and it's yours by simply clicking on the link below, our gift to you. So don't let big tech censors get in the way of your favorite content creators. Click on the link below and enjoy your survival guide to big tech censorship today. All right, so already, again, not even a full week into Biden's utterly ridiculous presidency, a number of his more ardent supporters are beginning to turn on him. The boss of a major union, who was a big Biden supporter, has come out and excoriated Sleepy Joe for killing the Keystone Pipeline, and he's not alone. Now, of course, our reaction here is, duh. I mean, what the hell did you expect? I mean, the guy freaking wants to get rid of the entire oil industry, for heaven's sakes, along with coal and fracking and the like. Literally, what the hell did you guys expect? But nevertheless, you know, welcome to the party, pal. Better late than never. But that's what we're seeing here. Article after article of Democrats and Biden supporters who are all now totally disillusioned that their champion of the blue-collar worker cares literally nothing about their jobs. Oh, he does care very much about all the politically correct marginalized groups that have been historically oppressed and underrepresented. He certainly cares about the newly anointed grievance groups that comprise modern-day identity politics. But sorry, you know, you white working class folks, sorry, Biden's not only got nothing for you, but he's going to make sure that he takes whatever you have away from you. And again, this isn't hard. This is precisely what happened during the Obama years. They act like they're all concerned about the middle class when they're running for office, and then once they get in, they become subservient to neoliberal globalist economic policies that hurt the middle class and far-left cultural Marxist identity politics that care nothing about the middle class, right? And the white working middle class, I mean, they were traditionally the foundation of the Democrats during the New Deal era. That day is over. It's gone. And again, this is largely because the economic issues that frame the right versus the left in the 20th century have been largely replaced with the centrality of identity. And if you're on the right, that identity is protected by virtue of the civic nationalism championed by Donald Trump, which involves securing our borders, bringing home our manufacturing jobs and industries, and celebrating rather than denigrating our shared customs, cultures, and traditions. So there's an obvious home on the new nationalist populist right for the working class. But the new left, they're all about marrying the consumer culture of corporatist globalism with the cultural Marxism of identity politics. And frankly, shame on these people for ever supporting Biden in the first place. I mean, get up to speed, guys. This isn't the Democrat Party of FDR, JFK anymore. Your new home is with the Trumpists, the deplorables. And I can assure you that I'm speaking on behalf of the entire audience here when I say, welcome home. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. You definitely want to check out my last video I just uploaded. It was our live stream last night. It was a really good one on how the impeachment is now officially dead on arrival in the Senate. You are not going to want to miss this. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.